The wind tears at Ophelia's hair, whipping long chestnut strands across her face. Her wrists burn where rough hemp rope bites into skin, binding her to the ancient stone altar that has drunk the fear of countless girls before her. They'd all struggled. Ophelia doesn't. There would be no point. Even if she could free herself, where would she run? The cliff top drops away on 3 sides into nothing but air and rocks and the churning sea below. And behind her stands her entire village, anyone she's ever known counting on her to die, so that they may live. The white ceremonial dress they've draped over her body is thin as spider silk. She feels bare, naked despite being clothed, and she can feel every eye on her. Dozens of them. Hundreds, perhaps. The entire village has turned out to watch her being sacrificed to the great dragon. The 3 village elders stand closest, ancient men draped in ceremonial robes that snap and billow in the wind. "We thank you, Ophelia," the eldest's voice carries across the clifftop. "On this day that marks a tradition established by our fathers and their fathers before them. Through your noble sacrifice, we keep the dragon savages at bay for another year. May your father's fields run gold with grain. May your mother's hearth burn warm through winter." He turns to her. "Speak now your last words upon this earth." The invitation hangs in the air, and shame floods through Ophelia like poison. Ophelia has no voice to offer them. She opens her mouth anyway, not from hope, but from habit, from the muscle memory of a lifetime spent trying to make herself heard. Her throat works, her lips form shapes, but nothing emerges except silence. She closes her mouth slowly in shame. Even now, even at the moment of her death, she cannot do this one simple thing. Cannot speak, cannot give them the words they want. The eldest elder shifts his weight, clearing his throat. "Given your condition, we will simply thank you and your family for this sacrifice." Condition, as if her voicelessness is something catching. Ophelia searches the crowd, though she knows she shouldn't. It will only hurt more. But she cannot help herself. She needs to see them one last time. Her father stands near the front, tall and weathered from years working their small plot of land. She watches him, willing him to look at her. Just once. Just one moment of connection before the end. Their eyes meet. Something flickers across his face. Guilt, perhaps. Then he looks away. Her mother stands beside him, pale and bloodless. Her eyes are dry. No tears for the daughter she's losing. Just grim acceptance. They made their choice when Celestine's name was drawn, and her mother has made her peace with it. Her 2 brothers stand with arms crossed, their young faces tight with something that might pass for sorrow if you didn't look too closely. But Ophelia has spent her whole life watching people, reading the truths they don't speak aloud. She sees what lies beneath their carefully composed expressions. Relief. Pure, shameful relief that it's her and not Celestine. She doesn't blame them. She would feel the same if their positions were reversed. And there. Her younger sister. Golden and lovely even with tears streaming down her perfect face. Celestine is crying. At least someone is crying. Ophelia doesn't resent her sister. Celestine didn't ask for Ophelia to take her place. Ophelia closes her eyes and feels a single tear slip free, immediately stolen by the wind before anyone can see. And then, the bright call of trumpets cuts through the howling wind. Ophelia's eyes snap open. The crowd parts, confused murmurs rising as a pure white horse comes cantering through the gap, and on it, a figure in gleaming armor. Ophelia's stomach turns to lead. Of course, she should have expected this. Tradition demands that royalty bless the sacrifice, thank them for their service before the dragon comes. But as the rider dismounts in a fluid, practiced motion, Ophelia sees immediately that something is different. The woman, and she must be nobility, perhaps even the princess herself given her age and the quality of her armor, isn't wearing court dress. She's clad in full battle armor, steel plates that catch what little light filters through the storm clouds. Her dark hair is braided tight against her skull, a warrior's braid, not a courtier's style. Her eyes find Ophelia's briefly and horror flashes across her striking features. "My loyal subjects." Her voice cuts through the wind like a blade, carrying the unmistakable authority of royalty. This woman is the princess, Ophelia realizes. Princess Lorelei, sole heir to the throne. Are you not tired of this? She asks. Confused silence ripples through the villagers. They glance at each other, uncertain. Tell me, why do we continue feeding our daughters to monsters? Why do we dress them in white and tie them to stone and call it sacrifice? The princess's eyes sweep across the crowd, challenging every person there. How many more children must we lose before we say enough? She turns, and her gaze falls on Ophelia for just a moment. I have been working with the royal smiths and mages, she says. We have weapons now, arrows tipped with poison and enchanted to pierce even dragon scales. We don't have to accept this anymore. We can fight back. The princess's hand goes to her sword hilt. Who will stand with me? Which of you is brave enough to fight the dragons and free our land? Her gaze lands on Ophelia's brothers, young, strong, capable, the kind of men who should be protecting their sister. Ophelia's heart clenches painfully in her chest, but the silence stretches. Wind screams across the cliff top. Thunder growls closer, shaking the ground. Her brothers stare at the princess with wide eyes, but neither moves, neither speaks. Around them, the crowd remains frozen. Feet shuffle nervously, eyes drop to the ground. No one is willing to risk themselves for her. The princess's jaw tightens, her knuckles white where she grips her sword. No one, not a single one of you? More silence, more shame hanging heavy in the air. The woman turns to look at Ophelia, and there is such sorrow in her eyes that Ophelia has to look away. She doesn't blame anyone. This is simply how the world is. Until the world changes, because suddenly the ground shakes. Not thunder this time, something deeper. The very bones of the earth trembling. Villagers cry out, clutching each other. The princess's hand flies to her sword, her eyes scanning the dark sky, until it splits open. Lightning, white and brilliant and terrible, strikes the cliff top. A gnarled tree at the edge explodes into flame, the crack of splitting wood like a bone breaking. And then, the beast comes. Chapter 2. The dragon crashes down onto the stone with such force that Ophelia feels it in her teeth. The impact sends several villagers sprawling. Others break and run, screaming, stumbling over each other in their terror. But Ophelia cannot move. She has never seen a dragon before. No one in the village has. They take their sacrifice and vanish into the mountains, leaving only fear and legends behind. This one is massive beyond comprehension. His body is covered in scales that shimmer silver-white like captured moonlight, and lightning, actual lightning, crawls across his shoulders and wings in crackling, dancing arcs. His head swings toward her, and his eyes glow electric blue, bright as the heart of a storm, and utterly inhuman. He is a creature built to kill, a living tempest given form and hunger. He is death itself standing before her. And Ophelia feels, strangely, a sense of relief. The dragon roars, a crack of thunder given voice, resonating in Ophelia's chest cavity, shaking her bones. The villagers who moments ago stood frozen now scatter like insects, screaming, trampling each other in their desperation to flee. They run even though they're not the ones tied to the altar, even though the dragon's attention isn't on them. Ophelia squeezes her eyes shut. This is the end of her story. At least it will be quick. At least, heat washes over her face. Not the searing heat of flame, but something else. Warm breath that smells of ozone and rain and wild places. It ghosts across her cheek, her throat, stirring the hair at her temples. Then pressure at her wrists. A sharp tug. The ropes fall away. Ophelia's eyes fly open in shock. The dragon's massive head is inches from her, close enough that she can see the individual scales, each one the size of her palm. The rope lies in pieces at her feet. Then his talons are sliding around her body, gathering her up. The claws press through the thin fabric of her white dress, points digging into her skin just shy of breaking it. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and those talons will pierce straight through her. Ophelia goes rigid with terror as the dragon's wings snap open. He launches into the sky. The ground drops away so fast Ophelia's stomach lurches into her throat. Wind screams past her ears, tears streaming from her eyes as the cold air cuts into her. When she finally manages to force her eyes open, She sees the villagers below, tiny figures scattering across the clifftop like ants. The princess stands in the center of the chaos, one arm raised high. "Now!" she screams. From hidden positions along the cliff face, figures emerge. Guards in armor, hauling massive wooden contraptions into position. Ballistas. Each one loaded with an arrow the size of a spear, black-tipped and gleaming wetly even from this distance. The dragon banks hard, and Ophelia's world tilts sickeningly. The talons around her tighten, claws digging deeper. She bites back a cry of pain. The ballistas fire. The arrows scream through the air like falling stars. Most miss, but one. One finds its mark, punching into the dragon's left wing with a meaty thunk that Ophelia feels through his body. The dragon roars. It's a sound of pure agony, of rage, of something primal and terrible. Lightning explodes from his body in jagged arcs, wild and uncontrolled. One bolt strikes a ballista below. The contraption explodes. These are the poisoned arrows the princess spoke of. Ophelia can see it now, the black substance coating each tip. The princess's voice rings out again. "Again!" she orders. More arrows launch skyward. The dragon twists mid-flight, his movements suddenly less fluid, less controlled. Ophelia catches a glimpse of black spreading through the membrane of his wounded wing. Another volley, more arrows slicing through the air. And one is flying straight toward Ophelia. She sees it coming, sees the dark point aimed directly at her chest, crossing the distance with terrible speed. Her mouth opens in a soundless gasp. At the last possible second, the dragon's wing drops. He takes the hit. The arrow punches into his body where wing meets shoulder, and Ophelia feels the impact shudder through him. Did he do that on purpose? Was that deliberate? She doesn't know. Lightning sputters across his scales, wild and uncontrolled. He beats his wings harder, pushing them higher, but his movements are becoming erratic. Labored. The air grows thin. They're so high now, surrounded by storm clouds that press in close and damp. The dragon's breathing is heavy, ragged. His wing beats are uneven, faltering. "They're falling," Ophelia realizes with a silent scream. No, not falling. Descending. Ophelia breathes through her nose. The dragon is aiming for something through the clouds. She blinks hard, trying to clear her vision. In the distance is another cliff face, this one pocked with caves. Dark openings in the gray stone. The dragon is aiming for one of them, she realizes. Terror floods through her. They're moving too fast. The opening is too small. "We're going to die," she thinks desperately. "We're going to hit the rock, and I'm going to die crushed between stone and dragon scale." She throws up her hands as if that could somehow protect her from what's coming. They hit. Chapter 3. The dragon pulls his wings in at the last second. Stone screams. Rocks explode around them as they crash through the cave entrance. Something sharp, a jagged outcrop, slices across Ophelia's shoulder, tearing through fabric and skin. The pain is white-hot, blinding, but she doesn't have time to process it because then the dragon's body shifts. He wraps himself tighter even as they tumble deeper into the cave, and whether it's protective instinct or simply the physics of their fall, his bulk takes the brunt of impacts that would pulverize her. They slam into the back wall with enough force to shake the entire mountain. For a moment, everything is dust and darkness and ringing silence. Then the dragon moves. His talons release her abruptly, and Ophelia hits the cave floor hard enough to drive the air from her lungs. She gasps, rolling away on pure instinct. What is happening? She thinks. How are we alive? Lightning erupts from the dragon's body in wild, spasming bursts. His eyes have gone unfocused and wild with pain. He's not seeing her anymore, Ophelia realizes. He's in too much pain. Wounded animals are dangerous, unpredictable. The dragon slams himself against the opposite wall. The entire cave shakes. More rocks fall from above, larger ones this time. A chunk the size of Ophelia's torso crashes down where she'd been lying moments ago. The ceiling is going to collapse, she thinks. The beast is going to bring the entire mountain down on both their heads in his blind agony, and they'll be buried here together. Crushed, forgotten. Ophelia's shoulder screams with pain. Her side bleeds where his claws pierced her. Her ears are ringing and she can taste blood in her mouth. But she's alive, and she wants to stay that way. The dragon thrashes again, and the cave groans ominously, the sound of rock under impossible stress. Ophelia has to do something. She's survived too much today to die crushed under a mountain. The dragon's wing sweeps wide in his thrashing, and Ophelia has to duck to avoid being struck. She presses herself against the wall, inching closer even though every instinct screams at her to run. There's nowhere to run. Her only chance of survival is calming this beast. Ophelia cannot speak, and the dragon doesn't see her. Can't see her. They have minutes, maybe less. Ophelia moves without thinking, crosses the space between them while the dragon is momentarily still. The arrows have to come out, she thinks. The poison has to be stopped. She doesn't know if she can help, doesn't know if the dragon will even let her get close. But she has to try. His breathing is still ragged, but something in his gaze sharpens, focuses. Ophelia takes one step closer, then another. The dragon doesn't move, doesn't snap again. "Please let me help," she begs it internally. She kneels beside his shoulder, where the nearest arrow protrudes from scales, can smell the sharp, acrid scent of whatever toxin coats those arrow tips. This is insane, she thinks. I'm about to touch it. I'm about to willingly touch a giant dragon. She reaches out and places one palm gently on his scales, just beside the arrow wound. Pain explodes through her body. Ophelia gasps and snatches her hand back as if burned. For one terrible moment, his agony had been hers, white hot and all-consuming. Her own wounds are nothing compared to what he's feeling. How is he even still conscious? And most importantly, how did she feel his pain? She looks up at the dragon's face, breathing hard. His eyes are no longer darting wildly around the cave. They're fixed on her, completely focused. And somehow, impossibly, he looks calmer, as if her touch, brief as it was, helped somehow. Ophelia stares at her hand, at the dragon, back at her hand. What just happened? The dragon shifts his massive head slightly, not threatening, almost expectant. You want me to do it again? She realizes. You felt it too. Whatever that was. She swallows hard. Her mouth is dry as sand. I'm going to die, she thinks. I'm absolutely going to die doing this. But she places both hands on his scales anyway, one on either side of the arrow. The pain hits her again, but this time she's expecting it. She grits her teeth against the sensation, forcing herself not to pull away. The agony rises in her like a tide, sharp and burning and terrible, but she finds that she can contain it, can take it into her body without drowning in it. And as she does, something else happens. Warmth flows from her palms into the dragon. Not heat. Something else. Something that feels like sunlight feels, like the first warm day after a long winter. It pours out of her hands and into him, and she watches in amazement as the black veins around the wound begin to recede. Just slightly. Just enough to see. The dragon thrashes once, a violent, whole-body spasm that nearly throws Ophelia off her feet. Then he goes completely still. His enormous head swings around to face her fully, and Ophelia finds herself staring directly into those electric eyes from less than an arm's length away. Then an image flashes in Ophelia's mind. She sees herself from above, sees her own body clutched in massive talons, the white sacrificial dress whipping in the wind, an arrow flying toward her chest. And then, panic. Pure, overwhelming panic that she's going to die. A split-second decision that isn't even a decision at all, but pure instinct to move, to shield, to protect. Ophelia's eyes fly open. She's seeing the attack from his perspective, feeling what he felt. The arrow flying toward her wasn't an accident he blocked. It was deliberate. He chose to take that hit, chose to shield her. Why? She thinks desperately. Why would you protect me? The dragon's eyes slide closed. His massive head drops to the cave floor with a thud that makes the whole space shake. The connection between them, whatever strange magic was flowing through her hands, cuts off abruptly. Ophelia stumbles backward, gasping. Her hands are tingling. Her whole body feels strange, like she's just woken from a deep dream and isn't quite sure what's real. The dragon is unconscious. His breathing has evened out, no longer that terrible, labored rasping. The black veins of poison are still there, still spreading around the arrows, but slower now. Much slower. She could run, Ophelia realizes. Now's the time. She looks toward the cave mouth, high above, but maybe she could find a way down. Ophelia takes a step toward the entrance, then another. She could go home. But home to what? The thought stops her cold. To parents who wouldn't meet my eyes? She turns and looks back at the unconscious dragon. This creature saved her, put himself between her and death, and now he's dying because of it. Ophelia walks back to the dragon, her steps steadier now. Her heart pounds as she kneels beside the first arrow, gripping the shaft with both hands. She's half certain he'll wake up and bite her head off, but she places one palm on his scales, feels that warmth begin to flow again, and pulls. The arrow comes free with a wet, sucking sound. Black blood oozes from the wound. The dragon doesn't wake. Ophelia moves to the next arrow, then the next. With each one, she becomes more confident, more skilled at channeling that strange warmth from her palms. I have magic, she realizes with a sense of wonder. I've been ordinary my whole life. Less than ordinary. Broken. And all along I had magic inside me. But what kind of magic is this, and why does it work on dragons? Finally, she pulls the last arrow free. Ophelia sits back on her heels, exhausted. The dragon's breathing is regular now, peaceful, like he's simply sleeping. Ophelia chews on her bottom lip, studying him. Have I made a terrible mistake? What happens when he wakes? The first rays of dawn creep through the cave entrance, painting the stone walls gold and pink. Ophelia glances toward the light, watching the sun break over distant mountains. It's strange, she thinks. She has no desire to run. When she looks back at the dragon, her mouth falls open. He is shimmering. Lightning crackles across his scales like an electric current running over his entire body. Ophelia scrambles backward, afraid of being electrocuted, but the dragon doesn't thrash. His massive form begins to compress, to fold in on itself. Wings retract into shoulder blades. Scales recede like water pulling back from shore, revealing pale skin beneath. His horns melt away. Ophelia watches, transfixed. When the transformation finishes, a man lies where the dragon had been. An unconscious, very handsome, and very naked man. Chapter 4. Ophelia can barely comprehend what she's seeing. The dragon, the massive, terrifying creature that took her from the altar, is gone. In its place lies a man. A naked man with blonde hair and a face so perfect it defies the laws of logic. Dragons are men. Men are dragons. How? The question echoes in her skull, but she has no answers. Only more questions tumbling over each other like stones in an avalanche. Can all dragons do this? Have they always been able to? How has this been kept secret? And why? What does this mean about the sacrifices? About the girls who came before her? Were they taken by men who could become monsters, or monsters who could become men? Her gaze drops to the wound on his chest, between shoulder and collarbone. The flesh is torn and angry, though the black poison veins have faded considerably. This is where he took the arrow, the one meant for her. Compassion wells up in her chest. He saved her life. This stranger, this creature she'd been taught to fear, put himself between her and death. So now she needs to help him. Her hands shake as she reaches out, fingers hovering over the wound. She's healed him before, when he was a dragon. But will it work now that he's human? Only one way to find out. Ophelia slides her fingers gently around the edges of the wound. The man shivers. The movement is small, barely perceptible, but she feels it through her fingertips. Heat radiates from his skin, not the fever heat of infection, but something else. A heavy breath escapes her lips. This time, when she touches him, it isn't his pain that rises in her. It's something different, a strange heat. She should pull away, should give him space, give herself space to think clearly. Her face draws nearer to his, as if pulled by invisible threads. She can feel the heat coming off his body in waves, feeling the solid muscle beneath her palms as hands slide up his chest. Gods, he's beautiful. The thought is barely coherent. She's never seen a man's bare chest before, but she's pretty sure they're not supposed to look so good. Their noses are almost touching when his eyes snap open. Ophelia gasps. She tries to jerk away, but his hand shoots out, catching her wrist. "You?" he asks. That single word does something to Ophelia she doesn't understand. She's never heard anything like that voice. It resonates in her bones, makes her want to lean closer instead of pulling away. He moves to sit up, swaying dangerously. Ophelia moves with him on instinct, not wanting to collide with him, one hand shooting out to steady him by the shoulder. His skin is scorching beneath her palm. His gaze fixes on her with laser focus, but his pupils are doing something strange, dilating and contracting wildly, making those blue eyes look almost black one moment and startlingly bright the next. He's delirious, fevered. "How did you do it?" the man murmurs, his words tumbling out in a rush. The words make no sense. Mad ramblings. But he's staring at her like he expects an answer. Ophelia shakes her head, pats her chest near the base of her throat with her free hand, trying to communicate. "I can't speak. I have no voice." The dragon shifter frowns. Then he releases her wrist. But his hand doesn't fall away. Instead, his fingers trail up her arm, slowly, deliberately, leaving lines of fire in their wake. The touch is so light it's almost torture. When his fingers tangle into her hair, Ophelia thinks she might melt into a puddle right there on the cave floor. She opens her eyes and finds him staring at her with that same expression of wonder. A rational part of her brain, the part that isn't currently drowning in sensation, whispers that this heat between them is just fever. She lifts her free hand and points to the wound on his shoulder, trying to indicate that he needs to rest. But the moment her palm connects with his bare chest, something in the air ignites. It's more than a pull, more than attraction. It's need, utterly consuming need. Both of them freeze. Their eyes drop simultaneously to where her hand rests against his skin, right over his heart. She can feel it hammering beneath her palm, rapid and strong. Can feel that strange warmth beginning to flow again, her magic, or whatever it is. Their eyes meet. Ophelia can hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. He pulls her forward as he sits up further, and suddenly she's straddling his lap. The hand that had been steadying his shoulder slides up of its own accord, winding around the back of his neck. His nose ghosts along the line of her throat, and every hair on her body stands on end. He breathes her in like she's oxygen, his lips barely grazing the sensitive skin below her ear. A sound tries to escape her throat, something between a gasp and a moan, but of course nothing emerges. Their lips are a breath apart. His eyes flutter closed. For a heartbeat, Ophelia thinks he's going to kiss her, but then his whole body goes slack. She barely has time to react, catching his full weight as he slumps backward. The fever has taken him under again, pulling him back into unconsciousness. Ophelia touches her lips with trembling fingers, wondering what it would have felt like if he'd stayed conscious just a moment longer. Wondering what happens when he wakes up again. Chapter 5. As night falls, Ophelia watches the sun bleed red across the horizon, her knees clutched to her chest. While the dragon shifter slept, she'd explored the cave and found a natural spring dripping fresh water from a crack in the stone. Now, the temperature drops as darkness settles in. Ophelia shivers, wrapping her arms around herself. The thin fabric of her torn dress does nothing against the cold seeping up from the stone floor. Behind her, she hears a sudden gasp. The dragon shifter is awake, his chest heaving as he struggles to sit up. Ophelia rushes to him without thinking. The moment her hands touch his bare chest, warmth flows from her palms into him. But it's more than that. She feels the frantic thunder of his heartbeat beneath her fingertips beginning to calm, and when his hands fly up, catching both her wrists in an iron grip, they soon begin to stroke over the sensitive skin. Their eyes meet. That same impossible pull from before surges through her, urging her closer. But she can see the fever still burning in him, the way sweat beads on his brow. Ophelia pushes gently but firmly against his chest, feeling the rapid rise and fall beneath her palms, and eases him back down. He watches her as she goes to the spring, her hands shaking as she cups water in her palms. When she returns and kneels beside him, she brings her hands to his lips. His mouth is hot against her skin. It takes a long time for her racing heart to slow. When Ophelia wakes around dawn, the dragon man is lying on his back, one arm thrown over his head in abandoned sleep, the other resting low on his stomach. Morning light streams through the cave entrance, painting his skin gold and bronze as his chest rises and falls with each breath. She watches every muscle defined beneath pale skin, the swell of his pectorals, each ridge of his abdomen that flex even in sleep. Her face feels hot, flushed, and she can't stop looking at him. This is ridiculous, she thinks. She should be tending his wounds, not staring at him like... Her eyes drift down again and heat floods her entire body. Right, that's the problem. She grabs the hem of her already ruined dress and tears off a long strip of fabric from the bottom with more force than necessary. The ripping sound echoes in the quiet cave. She crawls over to him, intending to wrap the cloth more securely around his waist before he wakes, and she loses her nerve entirely. But as she's tying the fabric, trying very hard not to look at what she's covering, trying not to notice the warmth radiating from his skin, his eyes open slowly, lock onto hers with immediate, devastating focus. Her hands freeze where they are, the knot only half tied, her fingers resting against warm skin just below his navel. He glances down at what she's doing, taking in her hands on him, her flushed face, her rapid breathing. One eyebrow arches in amusement and something else. Something heated. Ophelia stares at him, mortified. His hand comes up slowly, giving her time to pull away, and cups her face. His palm is warm and rough with calluses. He leans toward her, and she can see the exact moment his gaze drops to her mouth. His mouth is inches from hers when he winces. His hand flies to his shoulder where the worst wound still hasn't fully healed. Ophelia blinks, coming back to herself. She pushes him back with more force than necessary, rolling her eyes. She gestures firmly. Wait, stay put, don't move, you're still hurt. He watches her with those devastating eyes, but subsides back against the cave floor. She stands on shaking legs, her newly bare calves pale in the morning light, and turns toward the spring. Something slams, a wave of sensation so intense it steals the breath from her lungs. Heat floods through her body, starting low in her belly and spreading outward like wildfire. Ophelia stumbles, her knees going weak. She catches herself against the cave wall, her palms flat against cool stone. Her heart pounds so hard she can feel it in her throat, in her wrists, between her legs. What is this? What's happening to her? It feels like she's burning from the inside out. She looks back over her shoulder with wide, confused eyes. The dragon shifter's gaze is locked onto her bare calves with such intensity it feels like a physical touch sliding up her skin. His breathing has changed, faster, deeper, his chest rising and falling rapidly. And his eyes, well, his eyes track every small movement she makes, traveling slowly up the length of her exposed legs. And as his gaze climbs, that overwhelming sensation inside her intensifies. Her thighs tremble. Her breath comes in short, sharp gasps. And suddenly she understands. What she is feeling aren't her feelings. They're his. She's feeling his hunger, the way his hands ache to touch her, how much it costs him not to reach for her. Ophelia shakes her head slowly, trying to clear it, but the sensations don't fade. She can feel his need like it's her own. No, she can feel it as her own. His desire becomes her desire. His hunger becomes her hunger. Gods, is this what wanting feels like? She's never felt anything like this before. Chapter 6. That night, Ophelia lies curled on the hard cave floor, shivering violently. She's exhausted but too cold to sleep. She hears movement behind her. Then a strong arm hooks around her waist and pulls her backward against a wall of heat. Ophelia gasps as her back meets his chest. He's everywhere at once. His chest pressed flush against her back, his heart beating strong and steady against her shoulder blade. His hand splays wide just below her ribs, fingers spanning nearly her entire waist. One of his knees slots between her thighs, and the casual intimacy makes her breath catch. His breath stirs the hair at her nape. She can feel his nose pressed just behind her ear, the occasional brush of his lips against her skin when he breathes. Her breathing quickens, no longer from cold, but from something else entirely. Behind her, she feels his body go rigid. His breathing changes, becoming faster, rougher. His nose buries deeper into her hair. Through that strange link they share, she feels his desire spike, sharp and hot and overwhelming. Feels every thought that flashes through his mind. She whines silently, but he feels it. His arm tightens around her waist, possessive. She feels his awareness of her innocence, feels his absolute refusal to do anything she doesn't want, no matter how much it costs him. And it's costing him. She can feel the tremor that runs through him when she shifts against him again. So she lies there in his arms, trembling with want instead of cold, and neither of them sleeps for a very long time. The next day, Ophelia feels like she's losing her mind. Every casual glance from him feels like hands on her skin. She feels the way his pulse jumps when she stretches and her dress rides up her thighs. But she also feels more than just desire. She feels his wonder at her, his gratitude that she stayed, the growing tenderness mixed with the hunger. It feels good, being wanted like this, like she's worth something. She catches herself watching him too, the way he moves, all lean muscle and predatory grace, the way water runs down his chest when he drinks. It all becomes too much when she brings him water that evening. The sun is setting, painting the cave amber and gold. She kneels before him, cupping water in her palms. She's done this dozens of times. It should feel routine. It doesn't. He drinks slowly, his eyes never leaving hers, his mouth hot against her palms. When he's finished, he lowers her hands but doesn't release them. His thumbs stroke over her knuckles in hypnotic rhythm. Ophelia realizes she's panting, her lips parted. She remains frozen there, unable to move, unable to think of anything except how much she wants. He knows exactly what she needs. He waits anyway. The plea forms in her mind without conscious thought. Then his hands are in her hair and his mouth is on hers. Her first kiss. He pulls her into his lap, and her world narrows to sensation. It's overwhelming. His taste slightly sweet, slightly wild. The feeling of his tongue sliding against hers. The scrape of his teeth on her bottom lip. Through their connection, she feels what the kiss does to him. His satisfaction at finally tasting her. The hunger roaring up in him, barely leashed. At first, he's careful, gentle, keeping himself in check. But she doesn't want him to hold back. Ophelia presses closer, her hands sliding up his bare chest. Gods, the feeling of his skin, smooth and hot over hard muscle, to curl around the back of his neck. He makes a sound low in his throat. His mouth moves lower, dragging kisses down her throat. When he finds the sensitive spot where neck meets shoulder, his teeth graze the skin there, and she throws her head back with a silent gasp. They spend the rest of the day like that, kissing, touching, learning each other. Hours pass in a haze, his mouth on hers, on her throat, on her shoulder, her hands learning the landscape of his body. Neither wants to stop, neither can stop. That night, Ophelia watches rain pour down outside the cave entrance. He's curled around her, chest against her back, arm locked around her waist. But tonight, there's no pretense of sleep. He shows her things about her own body she never knew, teaches her about pleasure with infinite patience, pausing frequently. She never asks him to stop. The days blur together after that. She can't stop touching him, and he can't stop touching her. Every moment filled with kisses and caresses, with learning each other's bodies. She discovers she loves the way he trembles when she trails her fingers down his stomach, loves the sounds he makes, groans and gasps and whispered words in his language that she doesn't understand but feels the meaning of through their bond. And he learns her just as thoroughly, every spot that makes her gasp. They exist in a bubble of two, lost in sensation and each other. Time stops meaning anything. It's been a week, maybe more, when everything changes. He hovers above her, braced on his forearms, his electric blue eyes boring into hers. He's giving her one last chance to say no. Ophelia cups his face in her hands. She nods, deliberately. Yes, she sends through the bond. Please, I want you. Through their shared consciousness, words have little meaning. They understand each other. He understands her consent. Something in his expression cracks. There's pressure and stretch, and a sharp pinch of pain that makes her gasp. But then something else happens. Something snaps into place. The bond between them suddenly blazes to life. As he begins to move, it's like seeing the world with new eyes. She experiences everything twice over, her pleasure and his simultaneously. They are one, finally, completely. Ophelia loses track of time after that. They're one person in two bodies, one soul split between two forms. He makes love to her everywhere, against the cave wall, under the waterfall, on soft grass and warm midday sun. Through the bond, they communicate, not just feelings, but actual thoughts, words. She learns his name, Jesper. She tests it in her mind, and the sound of it drives him wild. You're mine, he thinks often. My mate. What does that mean, she asks. Mate? Images flood through the bond. A connection deeper than marriage. Souls recognizing each other. Two halves of a whole. Unbreakable. Many dragons live their entire lives without ever finding theirs. But you found me, she sends, wrapped in wonder. I found you, he confirms, pulling her closer. He learns about the girl who taught herself to read in secret, who survived by being invisible because being seen only brought pain. Never again, he sends fiercely. I see you. I will always see you. And she believes him. Until one morning, Ophelia wakes in Jesper's arms feeling different. Wrong. Her stomach churns uncomfortably. There's a sour taste in her mouth. She tries to ignore it, but the sensation intensifies. The nausea hits suddenly, violently. She tears herself from his embrace and stumbles to the cave mouth, barely making it before she's sick. Jesper is behind her instantly, one hand rubbing soothing circles on her back while the other gathers her hair away from her face. What's wrong? He asks. Are you hurt? Ophelia shakes her head weakly. She doesn't know. She was fine yesterday, perfectly healthy. Now she feels like death. Chapter 7. Their roles have reversed. Now it's Jesper who kneels beside Ophelia, bringing cupped handfuls of cool water to her lips while she lies weakly on the moss. Through the bond, his voice is gentle but strained. What's happening, my love? Ophelia closes her eyes, another wave of nausea rolling through her. The sickness doesn't pass. One day becomes two becomes three, then four. Jesper catches a rabbit and tries to feed her small amounts, but she can't keep anything down. Through the bond, Jesper's anguish is palpable. He paces like a caged animal, his movements agitated and desperate. She can feel his helplessness, his rage at being unable to fix this. On the fifth day, he stops pacing abruptly, goes completely still. He gathers her in his arms with infinite care, as if she's made of glass. He carries her outside into the warm afternoon sun. The light feels glorious on her skin. The grass is soft beneath her when he lays her down gently. Then her breath is stolen. Before her eyes, Jesper begins to shimmer. Lightning crackles across his skin. His form expands, shifts, transforms. In seconds, the man is gone and the magnificent dragon stands in his place, silver-white scales gleaming, electric blue eyes fixed on her. He gathers her in his talons, his wings snap open, and he launches into the sky. Ophelia doesn't have the strength to send a question. The rhythmic beating of his wings lulls her into darkness. She drifts off to sleep, trusting him completely. When she wakes, the wind bites at her cheeks, sharp and cold and real. Before her stretches an impossible city. White stone towers rise from the clouds themselves. Crystal spires catch the light, sending rainbows dancing through the air. Buildings float, connected by delicate bridges arching through empty space. It's built in the clouds, not on them. As Jesper descends, she can see figures walking the streets, living in this impossible place. Suddenly, she's wide awake. Jesper shifts back to human form, keeping her clutched close to his bare chest. Through the bond, she feels his urgency. He strides through the city streets with purpose, and people stop to stare. Their eyes, not all blue like Jesper's, but all with that same luminous, otherworldly quality. Green eyes that glow like emeralds, golden eyes that shine like coins. They're all dragon shifters. Through the bond, Jesper grunts acknowledgement. Yes, an entire city of them, all living here in the clouds, hidden from the human world below. The further they move into the city, the more Ophelia notices something else. The dragon shifters aren't just staring. Some lower their eyes respectfully. Others step aside quickly. And some drop to one knee, heads bowed. Bowing. Shock ripples through her, and she feels Jesper's muscles tense. He felt her realization through the bond. He's not just any dragon shifter. Common dragons don't receive bows. He must be nobility, maybe even... They reach the center of the city, and Ophelia's breath catches. Before them rises a palace that makes every other building look small. Massive, all white stone and crystal and silver, with towers that pierce the clouds. Lightning dances across its surface in intricate patterns. The sight makes Ophelia queasy. Jesper kicks open the giant double doors. The crash echoes through the entrance hall. Guards in gleaming armor scatter, then freeze. Their eyes go wide. Then, as one, they drop to their knees. Jesper's voice booms. "Healers! Get me the healers! Now!" One guard, a woman with golden eyes, rises quickly, her hand over her heart. "Right away, Your Majesty." "Your Majesty." The words ring in Ophelia's ears. She places a trembling hand on Jesper's cheek, forcing him to look down at her. Through the bond, her voice is small, disbelieving. "Your Majesty? Jesper, are you their king?" His jaw tightens. His arms tighten around her. Finally, he nods. The simple gesture confirms what she already knew but couldn't quite believe. Her mate, her love, is a dragon king. Chapter 8. When Ophelia opens her eyes, she's no longer in Jesper's arms. She's lying on a cold metal table, staring up at a ceiling painted to look like clouds. She shivers, suddenly aware that she's not pressed against Jesper's warmth anymore. Where is he? 3 figures move around her. As her vision clears, she sees them. 2 women and a man, all dressed in simple robes the color of storm clouds. One of the women approaches, reaching for Ophelia's wrist. Ophelia jerks away, scrambling backward. The woman's eyes, luminous gold, widen in surprise. They're not human, they're dragon shifters. One produces a clay cup filled with herbal drink, steam rising from its surface. She offers it to Ophelia with a gentle smile. Ophelia shakes her head violently. She's frustrated that she can't speak, can't ask questions, can't demand to know where Jesper is. The door bursts open. A woman in a flowing gown strides toward the table. She reaches for Ophelia's hand, and Ophelia notices immediately. Her eyes are brown. Plain, normal, human brown. "Hello, Ophelia," the woman says gently. "I came as soon as they called for me." Ophelia stares at her in shock. "Yes, I'm human. They thought it might make you more comfortable during the examination." She squeezes Ophelia's hand. "My name is Mira." One of the healers, the woman with golden eyes, turns to Ophelia. "I'm a healer. We need to examine you to determine what's making you ill." Ophelia looks around frantically, searching for Jesper. "His Majesty will be here soon, I promise." Mira squeezes her hand again. "I'll be with you the whole time. You're safe here." Tears form in Ophelia's eyes, but she nods her consent. The healers begin their examination while Mira distracts her with descriptions of the Sky Kingdom. When they've finished, the kindly healer sits back. "How long have you been ill?" she asks gently. Ophelia holds up 5 fingers. "What has been your main symptom?" Ophelia mimes throwing up. The healer exchanges glances with the others. One leaves the room, returns moments later with Jesper close behind. He rushes to Ophelia's side immediately, his hands cupping her face, smoothing back her hair. Ophelia sighs in relief. She can breathe again. "Have you discovered the cause of the sickness?" Jesper asks, though his eyes never leave Ophelia's face. "We have, sire." She pauses. "Your maid is pregnant." Ophelia reels. Pregnant. Joy floods through her, pure and overwhelming. Jesper goes completely still. Through the bond, she feels his relief that she's not dying. Then that relief shifts, matching her joy, until his face begins to change. The joy drains away. His skin pales. The emotion flooding through the bond transforms into something else entirely. Horror. Pure, absolute, devastating horror. Ophelia gasps at the sudden onslaught, and Jesper releases her as if burned. Then he flees the room. Thankfully, the herbal tea works. Within hours, the nausea subsides. Mira shows her the palace, though Ophelia barely registers any of it. She's too focused on the turmoil churning inside Jesper somewhere close by. They arrive at her private chambers. The luxury is beyond anything she's ever imagined. She cares little for it. Servants help her into a bathing room where a copper tub sits steaming. The hot water feels like heaven. They wash her hair, dry her with impossibly soft towels. When Ophelia looks in the mirror, she barely recognizes herself. Despite everything, she's glowing, her skin luminous, her eyes bright. She runs her palm across her stomach, still flat but containing something precious. An overwhelming rush of love floods through her. As if responding, she feels Jesper through the bond. But it's not joy that answers her love. It's pure turmoil, anguish. Why? A terrible thought forms. Perhaps now that he's back in his kingdom, he doesn't want to be tied to a voiceless peasant girl. Perhaps she was fine for a secret affair, but not as the mother of a royal child. Perhaps he regrets everything. But if that's true, she'll love this baby enough for both of them. This child will know they're precious. A knock at the door makes her turn. Mira enters with a notepad and pen, waving them with a small smile. Despite everything, Ophelia laughs silently. She writes, "How are you here? How long have you been in the Sky Kingdom?" Mira settles into a chair. "I was taken as a sacrifice 20 years ago." Ophelia's eyes widen. "The dragon sacrifices, they're all for show, to keep humans afraid. The dragons don't eat us, Ophelia. They keep us here, protected but confined." She smiles softly. "King Jesper took me himself. He's never harmed me, never harmed any of us." Ophelia's eyebrows rise. "Yes, there are more of us. We have work, community, even families. The dragons treat us well. We're protected, cared for." Her smile falters. "But we cannot leave. Ever." Ophelia absorbs this, reeling. The sacrifices were always a lie. They were prisoners, comfortable, but prisoners nonetheless. She writes, "Do you want to leave?" Mira sighs. "Sometimes. I had a family once, a fiancé, but that was 20 years ago. They've likely forgotten me." There's old pain in her eyes. "This is my home now." Ophelia squeezes her hand. Through the bond she keeps closed, she can feel Jesper like a storm on the horizon, pacing, searching, desperate. Chapter 9. Night falls over the Sky Kingdom. Ophelia lies in the enormous 4-poster bed, exhausted but unable to sleep. The room is dark except for the faint glow of lightning flickering outside her windows, casting shifting shadows across the walls. She senses Jesper before she sees him. The bond pulses with his nearness. Then the door opens silently, and he steps inside, holding a candle aloft. The flame throws shadows across his beautiful features, making him look haunted. "Jesper," she asks. Through the bond, her voice is hesitant. He must feel her uncertainty, her fear that he doesn't want her anymore, because he rushes to the bed immediately. His voice is thick with emotion, cracking when he speaks. "My love, I've searched everywhere," he explains. "Through all the records in our libraries, I've consulted every healer in the kingdom. I've looked for potions, spells, anything that means I can keep you both." He descends into rambles, his pain flooding through the bond. Ophelia fears her heart might split in two from the force of it. This isn't regret. This isn't rejection. This is terror. She takes his face in her hands, forcing him to look at her. "No dragon has taken a human mate before," Jesper explains. "Not ever. Not in all of recorded history. Even pregnancies amongst my own kind are dangerous, Ophelia. Dragon babies are strong, Their magic is powerful. It drains the life from their mothers. His voice breaks. Even my own mother. She was the strongest dragon of her generation, daughter of the previous emperor, a warrior without equal. And she died bringing me into this world. Through the bond, Ophelia sends confusion and fear. What are you saying? Jesper pulls back, steeling himself. His eyes bore into hers with desperate intensity. I can't lose you. Do you understand? I can't. You're my mate, my soul. I've waited centuries for you. His voice drops to a whisper. There's no other way. You have to end this pregnancy. End the... What is he saying? Ophelia shoves Jesper away from her, physically pushing against his chest with both hands. Her face is upset, tears still wet on her cheeks, but through their mate bond her voice rings clear and strong. No. Jesper reaches for her, his hands outstretched, pleading. Ophelia, please! She scrambles back on the bed, maintaining distance between them, shaking her head violently. His voice cracks. Please, don't make me watch you die. I'm begging you. Ophelia clenches her fists. She's been silent her entire life, but Jesper, the only person in the world who can truly hear her, is going to listen to what she has to say. Then don't watch me die, she says through the bond. We're strong together. I survived healing you when I had no idea what I was doing. I'll survive this too. She moves forward on her knees across the mattress until she's kneeling before him and takes his hands in hers. I believe in our bond, she sends, absolute conviction flowing through the words. I won't give up our baby. Jesper hooks a finger under her chin, lifting her face to his. I've spent 500 years alone, he tells her. Ophelia's breath catches. 500 years. She knew he was old, but 5 centuries of waiting, he continues. Now that I've found you, I can't live without you. Don't you understand? Ophelia squeezes his hand. You won't live without me, she sends back, firm and gentle at once. We can do this together. I know we can. Jesper closes his eyes, a single tear escaping down his cheek. This time when he kisses her, it's different from all the times before. Not driven by lust or passion or desperate need. It's soft, adoring, reverent, a kiss that tastes of surrender and devotion and promises. And in that moment, Ophelia knows with absolute certainty that he will protect her and their unborn baby with his life. The pregnancy is brutal. Ophelia remains confined to her wheelchair for the entire 9 months, too weak to walk more than a few steps without collapsing. But she refuses to give up. Mira visits often, bringing news from the other humans, telling stories, providing companionship. And Jesper is never far, always touching her in some way, his hand on her shoulder, his fingers threaded through hers, his palm resting on her swollen belly. Through their bond, he pours his strength into her constantly. It's like he's a limitless well of power, and she's drawing from it every moment of every day. Each touch is a reaffirmation. I'm here. You're not alone. We're doing this together. The need for each other never fades. If anything, it grows stronger. And though Ophelia grows more frail with each passing week, she glows. There's a radiance to her that has nothing to do with physical health and everything to do with purpose, with love. Jesper never wavers. He bathes her when she's too weak to do it herself. He feeds her by hand when her arms shake too badly to hold a spoon. She knows that underneath it all, he's terrified. She can feel it through the bond. But he never lets her see it. And she never loses faith, not once. She knows that she's going to be a mother. On quiet evenings, propped up on a mountain of pillows in their enormous bed, Jesper talks to her swollen belly. He tells their unborn child stories of dragons of old, tales of ancient battles and legendary heroes, descriptions of the different dragon kingdoms spread across the world. Ophelia listens, enraptured, learning about the world she's entered. Jesper speaks of the temperamental fire dragons who live in volcanic mountain ranges, their scales glowing like coals, their tempers as explosive as their magic. Of the patient ice dragons in the far north, ancient and wise and cold as winter itself. Of the secretive shadow dragons who live in deep caves and emerge only at night, masters of stealth and darkness. All of them united, however tenuously, under the banner of the Great Cipher, the Dragon Emperor. The only dragon in recorded history to wield all elements. A being of such immense power that even kings like Jesper bow to his will. "What is he like, that emperor?" Ophelia asks, curious. Jesper pauses at that, searching for his words. "Temperamental," he says eventually. This gives Ophelia pause. "You're trying to be polite, aren't you?" she asks through the bond. Jesper snorts. "You'll learn not to question our emperor too much, my love," he says, though not unkindly. "He could prove even more dangerous to us than your current pregnancy." Ophelia squeezes his hand. The final month is agony. Ophelia can barely stay conscious. The baby is so strong now, his magic so powerful, that it feels like he's burning through her from the inside out. Jesper stops leaving her side entirely. He lies behind her in bed, his chest pressed to her back, his magic, his strength, his life force if necessary. Through the bond, Ophelia feels his exhaustion, feels how much this is costing him. But he never stops. "Rest," she sends weakly. "You need to rest." "I'll rest when you're safe," he responds. And when she wakes up next, Ophelia feels the first contraction. The labor is endless. Screams echo through Ophelia's bedchamber, raw and primal and powerful. Healers hustle about, fetching water and towels, checking her progress, offering what help they can. But really, there's nothing they can do. This is between Ophelia, Jesper, and their child. "Big push," the healer says, eyes wide. "He's crowning! One more push!" Ophelia's screams intensify. She bears down with every ounce of strength she has left, and then a baby's cry fills the room. The sound is the most beautiful thing Ophelia has ever heard. Jesper's emotions crash through their bond with the force of a tidal wave. Love, wonder, awe. He still holds on to her as if she might slip away at any moment, as if death might still claim her if he lets go. But Ophelia has never felt so alive. Exhausted, yes. Weak, yes. But alive. Gloriously, triumphantly alive. The healers work quickly, cleaning the baby, checking him. Then she places him in Ophelia's arms. "Congratulations, Your Majesty. You have a son." Ophelia looks down at the tiny face peeking out from the blanket. He has her dark brown eyes, though they're still hazy with newness, and Jesper's blonde hair, just a soft fuzz on his head. His skin is pale like both of theirs, and his little fists wave in the air as he stops crying the moment he's in his mother's arms. Jesper wraps his arms around them both, cocooning them in his warmth and strength. A new emotion pulses down their bond, strong and fierce and protective. Pride. Not just pride in surviving, pride in what they've created together. Through the windows, dawn is breaking over the Sky Kingdom. Lightning dances between the crystal towers, celebrating. And somewhere in the palace, Ophelia can hear cheering as word spreads. The human queen survived. The impossible happened. A dragon heir has been born. But in this moment, none of that matters. Not the kingdom, not the politics, not the shock rippling through the dragon world. All that matters is the three of them. A family. Forged through impossible odds. Bound by a love that proved stronger than death itself. Jesper presses a kiss to Ophelia's temple, then gently to their son's head. Through the bond, his voice is broken with emotion. "I'm sorry I doubted." "Well, I couldn't have done it without you," Ophelia sends back. She looks down at their son, already feeling the fierce protectiveness of motherhood blooming in her chest. This child will never know what it feels like to be unwanted. Because he has parents who moved heaven and earth to bring him into this world. He is loved. Completely. Absolutely. Forever. Epilogue. 6 weeks after the birth, Ophelia stands on the grand balcony overlooking the Sky Kingdom, her son cradled in her arms. Her little prince sleeps peacefully against her chest, wrapped in soft blue silk. He's beautiful. Perfect. Dark eyes like hers, blonde hair like his father's. But he cannot shift. The healers have confirmed it. He's more human than dragon, blessed with elemental magic but unable to take dragon form. Jesper stands behind her, his arms wrapped protectively around them both. Today is her formal presentation. In moments, she'll be declared Queen of the Sky Kingdom before all of Jesper's people. Most dragons have accepted her, grudgingly at first, then with growing respect. But through the bond, Ophelia feels Jesper's worry, the concern he tries to hide from her. "What is it?" she asks. He hesitates, then sighs. "The Dragon Emperor, Cypher," he tells her through the bond. "What about him?" Ophelia asks. "I fear," Jesper's jaw tightens, "that he may not recognize our son as a legitimate heir, because he cannot shift." He pauses. The Emperor is ancient, traditional. He believes only full dragons can rule dragon kingdoms. Through the bond, Ophelia feels his deeper fear, that their son will never be accepted, that he'll grow up caught between two worlds, belonging fully to neither. She reaches up and cups his face. "Then we'll fight for him, together, just like we fought for his life." Jesper closes his eyes, leaning into her touch. Below them, the city is buzzing with activity. News has spread across the Dragon Empire. King Jesper's human mate survived childbirth, bore a child with dragon magic. If it happened once, perhaps humans can be dragon mates after all. The implications are staggering. Dragons across all kingdoms are questioning everything they believed. If humans can be mates, if they can survive bearing dragon children, then everything changes. But the question consuming them all is simple and profound. Could a human mate bear a full dragon heir? One who can shift? Who can truly rule? Their son proved humans can survive, but he also raised more questions than answers. Ophelia knows Jesper worries about these things, about politics and succession, and the Emperor's approval. But to her, it doesn't matter. She looks down at their son, at his tiny, perfect face, runs a finger over his soft cheek. He's alive. She's alive. They're a family. "We have each other," she sends through the bond. "That's all that matters. Everything else, we'll face it together." Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. I wanted to explore something new with dragon shifters, especially because I love the mystical, ancient, and fantastical energy that surrounds dragons. If you found yourself wanting more, I actually wrote an exclusive dragon shifter story a few weeks ago on my Patreon, in case you'd like to continue the journey. You'll find the link in the description. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to hear more dragon shifter stories in the future here on YouTube. Much love, Lily.